It feels like the entire world is searching for Brian Laundrie, who's a person of interest in the death of Gabby Petito. Although Brian has not been officially ruled a suspect in the case, the court of public opinion has found him guilty, and people are desperate to find him. That's why today on IO, we're going to be listing the top 10 Brian Laundrie theories that could solve the Gabby Petito case. I'm Mackenzie, and make sure to subscribe if you're new here. In at number 10, he's hiding in the flower bed. After he returned home to Florida without Gabby Petito, Brian decided to flee. We assume to escape the consequences of his actions. But one theory claims that Brian is much closer to home than we expected, and he's actually living in his parents' backyard underneath a flower bed. This theory gained traction after a video allegedly showed a hand sticking out from under the flower bed. Some even claim they saw Brian hand his parents a note. Many think the theory is far-fetched, but survival expert Gary Lynch told Fox News that it may have some weight. Quote, "The possibility of having a bunker there, his parents having a bunker, is absolutely 100% plausible," with him adding that about 1% of United States homes have bunkers. But if they do have one, it's highly likely that Brian is hiding inside of it. And at number 9, Brian has a violent past. Now that Brian Laundrie is essentially public enemy number 1, tons of stuff has been coming out about his past, alleging that he is a possessive and jealous partner. Rose Davis, who's a close friend of Gabby's, claimed that Brian was so possessive that he stole Gabby's ID before the pair were supposed to go out dancing so that she couldn't go. Davis also said that Gabby would stay at her house pretty often to get away from Brian. Gabby even told her that Brian would have episodes where he would, quote, "hear things and hear voices and wouldn't sleep." Davis also said that her and Petito would share their locations with each other through the iPhone app, but when Brian discovered this, he made Gabby delete it. If this is all true, it fits with the theory that Brian lashed out at Gabby. And at number 8, hiding in Carlton Reserve. Another spot that investigators think that Brian is hiding is inside the Carlton Reserve. However, the reserve can be a difficult place to get around, so if he was hiding there is a potential that he could be dead. CNN spoke with an expert named Robert Urban, who said that he didn't believe it was likely that someone without professional survival tactics could survive for long in the Carlton Reserve. He added that he'd only be able to survive there 3 weeks maximum himself, even with his skill set. According to CNN, another survival expert says that Laundrie would need skills and materials to survive, including ways to disinfect water and gather food and start fires. But investigators have found no campsites so far, making this location less likely. CNN's experts believe that Laundrie is no longer in Carlton Reserve or he is dead. And at number 7, hiding in mangroves. Campers at the Fort DeSoto Park in Florida have theorized that Brian Laundrie might be hiding in the mangroves, which is the exact spot that Brian and his parents stayed on September 6th. If you didn't know, the mangroves refer to trees and shrubs with tangled roots above ground that thrive in coastal swamps flooded at high tide and form dense thickets. The family's attorney dismissed these claims, but campers are still fearful he might be in the area. Dog the Bounty Hunter also believes this claim, and Dog claimed to have received a tip that Brian had never actually left Fort DeSoto with his parents when they checked out of the camp on September 8th. However, the parents denied this claim. And at number 6, fled to the Appalachian Trail. While law enforcement continues to search the Carlton Reserve and Fort DeSoto, one expert believes Brian is more likely to be at the Appalachian Trail, where he had also previously visited with Gabby. He also stated that Brian is clearly aware of law enforcement tracking techniques. That's why Brian left behind his wallet, ID, driver's license, and credit cards. The expert said his reasoning is that, quote, "he knows where all the little places are to camp out on the Appalachian Trail. It just makes sense. Brian has expertise. He's an elite hiker. It's right up his alley." The expert also believes that Brian is still in the United States, adding, quote, "Warner is convinced that Laundrie is still on US soil, noting that you have to have verifiable ID from a government agency with a picture on it to leave." Halfway, number 5, monster can found in Fort DeSoto. Dog the Bounty Hunter and his team have been spending their time looking through the Fort DeSoto Park in Florida, which was the last place that Brian and his family visited on September 6th before Brian went missing. While Dog was searching, his team found a freshly discarded can of Monster Energy drink, and they presumed it was Brian's, that he left at a campsite that he established nearby. Some internet sleuths alleged that they spotted the can in Brian Laundrie's mom's handbag, and this was proof it was connected to Brian, but this has not been confirmed. Dog has also suggested that Brian could be canoeing between islands at the park to avoid detection. And at number 4, he fled to the Bahamas. Although most people believe that Brian is still in the United States, one expert has theorized that Brian might have fled to the Bahamas. John Walsh is the main person that has brought this theory to the forefront. During an episode of In Pursuit with John Walsh, the host revealed that the Bahamas was amongst the 3 possible locations that Brian is hiding. Walsh believes that Brian is most likely to be in Mexico, the Bahamas, or the Appalachian Trail. From Miami, Nassau is only 181 miles away, meaning it's possible that he took the journey. Walsh also claimed that 15 of his 500 tips stated that they saw Brian in the Bahamas. One tarot reader also backed up this claim, saying that Brian was in the Bahamas traveling with an older female, but no concrete evidence has proven this theory. And at number 3, connected to Wyoming homicide case. Around the time of the Gabby Petito case, we also learned of a homicide case involving newly married couple Kaylin Schulte and her wife Crystal Turner. This couple was also staying at the Moonflower Co-op in Moab around the same time as Gabby and Brian. Only days after it was reported that Brian and Gabby got in a fight on August 12th, Turner and Schulte were found dead at a nearby campsite. Apparently, the couple was even texting their friends, saying that a man had been, quote, creeping them out. After this was exposed, many felt that the two incidents could be connected and that Brian could be responsible for the murder of the other couple. However, a new theory now states that the person that killed Turner and Schulte might actually be the same person that killed Gabby, with the theory speculating that Brian is not responsible. One commenter shared similar thoughts on the Gabby Petito subreddit, saying the police should be looking for other killers that could be in Wyoming in the event that Brian is found innocent. And at number 2, Brian is dead. Since we've not seen Brian in weeks, some think he could have died while running away from police. Most of the locations that he's believed to be hiding are in remote and difficult campsites in parks where it's very easy to get hurt or lost. Since it's been so long, many are questioning how Brian is eating and drinking, and even if he needed food and water, he's most likely too scared to go out in public because he would be recognized. At this point, Brian is one of the most publicized people in America, and since nobody has seen him, it means he's either not in the country or no longer living on Earth. And finally, at number 1, Brian cheated. This is a wild theory that was first started on TikTok, so take it with a grain of salt, but some are theorizing that Brian cheated on Gabby with none other than her best friend. Apparently, Gabby found out about the cheating, and that's what caused so many of their fights. One source claimed that Brian and the best friend got matching tattoos together, showing that they were very close. Then once when Brian accidentally went live on Instagram, there were a pair of shoes that didn't belong to Gabby. Reports later claimed that the shoes were the best friend's, as she was wearing them in another photo. Lastly, this friend has been very silent through all of this, which many find very sketchy. But again, this is all just a wild TikTok theory. So that's all the theories we know about Brian Laundrie as of now. Please leave your thoughts on anything I mentioned below. Also, let me know if there was anything that I missed. But before I go, I'm going to shout out some comments from my video on influencers that look nothing like their photos. K.A. Singh said, "Lil Kim, man, she was so pretty before. She allowed the world to get to her. Unfortunately, I wish she had known how gorgeous she was." Yeah, I remember her saying, I was researching in an interview, she said that was a big reason. She was very insecure about herself because she always was told by men in the industry that she was unattractive. But yeah, looking at her earlier photos, I never thought so. Then Desiree Hassett said, "This is what happens when you're either body shamed or have low self-esteem. It's just becoming too much. Leave your face alone. Moisturizer, microdermabrasion, etc. It works well. You don't want to look like Carrot Top." I couldn't agree more. Really, with these kind of procedures, less is more, and you can always add on, but you can't take away. So you don't want to get too much and then you can never go back. Fillers, they say that you can take them out. Actually, there's claims coming that you can't even take them out. So it's very speculated, but really when it comes to modifications, less is more. At least that's what I believe. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thank you so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and you want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on social media. I'll catch you all in the next one.